Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from PaulthePoke.com. Today's topic, Rosh Chodesh, head of the month. And, this applies every month on the Jewish calendar, but especially this week, probably towards the end of the week. The Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Teruah, Feast of Trumpets, begins at the sighting of the new moon here in a few days. So, how is a new moon or a new month determined on the Hebrew calendar? God operates on a lunar calendar, and Jews have utilized the following procedure every month for thousands of years. It's called Rosh Chodesh, which means head of the month. At the end of the lunar cycle, the moon is dark and is not seen for 2 to 3 days. So the new moon could be identified during this 2 to 3 day period of that day or hour no one knows. Now, there's some dual meaning to that phrase. And there's also some imagery to a Jewish wedding of when a groom is preparing his home for his bride. And the father will also tell him of that day or hour no one knows when his home is ready so he can then go get his bride. And that's a topic for another day. But there's also some implications in that sense. But it also points to, Rosh Hashanah or Yom Teruah, Feast of Trumpets, or the beginning of any month. But by definition, a new moon is proclaimed when the first little sliver emerges from a darkened moon. So it's a tiny little crescent that's noted briefly at sunset on the western horizon. The month begins at the sighting of the new moon. So this happens every month of the year. And again, we're looking at specifically this upcoming month, which will be Tishri, the 7th month, Yom Teruah. And 2 witnesses have to confirm the sighting. Upon agreement, the 2 witnesses report to the high priest. When the new moon is confirmed, the trumpet or the shofar, the ram's horn, is blown. I know some of you are probably asking, well, why 2 witnesses? And the idea of 2 witnesses is part of Jewish law. We're going to take a look at Deuteronomy 19, verses 15 through 21. A single witness shall not rise up against a man on account of any iniquity or any sin which he has committed. On the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses, a matter shall be confirmed. If a malicious witness rises up against a man to accuse him of wrongdoing, then both men who have the dispute shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges who will be in office in those days. The judges shall investigate thoroughly, and if the witness is a false witness, and he has accused his brother falsely, then you shall do to him just as he had intended to do to his brother. Thus you shall purge the evil from among you. The rest will hear and be afraid, and will never again do such an evil thing among you. Thus you shall not show pity, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. So 2 or more witnesses to the new moon are legally establishing as fact per the law. And that's the idea behind it. This is not, and I get this a lot, this is not science. This is not some mathematical equation. This is about being honest and truthful, coming before the Lord. And this is just another aspect of it. Now, if you want to check out how this has come to be, this is from Brother Mark Harris. Explains the creator's calendar in the YouTube video below. And he has an affiliated website, whenisthenewmoon.com. And I'm telling you right now, these folks are about to go out in the desert here in a couple, 3 days, and they're going to start looking for the new moon to bring in the 7th month, Tishri, which will also bring in the civil new year, Rosh Hashanah, for 5781. So, big deal. What's coming? And just think about this with the 2 witnesses. If this concept was applied today, you think society would be any different? Would people spread lies or lie or about other people if they knew the consequence would be the punishment of the lie they were spreading. I doubt it. And that's part of when Jesus shows up. He's going to sift through all this nonsense, and it will be true justice. So, and the way things are going in the future, we don't know when. We need a temple first on the Temple Mount. But God's going to have two people bear witness to the world that humanity is sinful. And with these two witnesses, God is establishing a legal declaration of evidence. Now, just consider if God is wrong about this. He would be lying about humanity, and then he would bring judgment accordingly upon himself, per the law we just read in Deuteronomy 19. Now, we know that's not true. He's not capable of lying. But the reality of it is if he would lie, he would be subject to his own laws. That's how serious he takes it. But again, he's not. He will act as an impartial judge. Revelation 11, verse 3, and I will grant authority to my two witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. So God's two witnesses will be falsely accused and put to death. So I'm going to back up on this 1,260 days. And if you divide that out loosely a 30-day lunar calendar, you're looking at 42 months or 3.5 years. So that tells you that temple will be up and running. It will be present most likely present, or it will be open the day the temple is open for 3.5 years to get to the halfway point of the tribulation. So odds are the temple will be up and operational when these two witnesses show up on the scene. I mean, that could be they happen to be there on day one, and that temple has 3.5 years, and that's it. Not likely. Again, just something to think about, chew on that. But if I was a betting man, which I am a lot of times, I would about bet the temple is up and running before the 7-year tribulation starts. I mean, that's just looking at that verse. If they're granted authority to prophesy at the temple for 1,260 days or 42 months or 3.5 years, it's probably going to be there before the tribulation starts. But just chew on that for whatever. But these two witnesses, they will be falsely accused and they'll be put to death. They're going to be lied about. And the Antichrist is going to kill them. But Revelation 11, verses 11 and 12, but after the 3.5 days, a breath of life from God entered them, and they stood up on their feet, and great fear fell on those who saw them. Then they heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, "Come up here." And they went up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies watched them. So, bottom line, truth wins. Truth will overcome lies. Life, truth, over lies, sin, death. Truth wins. So, if you appreciate these sorts of things, enjoy these sorts of things, please feel free to share with others. PaulthePoke.com. Again, this is Rosh Chodesh, head of the month, and we're just looking at the beginning of every month, and specifically this upcoming seventh month on the Hebrew calendar, Tishri. It's going to kick off the new civil year for the Jewish people. So, also happens to kick off the fall feasts. So, puts the other feasts, sets the date for the remainder of the feasts. So it's a big deal to keep track of. And that's going to be categorized under fall feasts, prophecy, signs, sun, moon, stars. We're going to scroll down the far right column here. Let y'all see that. There's fall feasts, signs, sun, moon, and stars. And again, we got all kinds of articles under all these categories. So if you're interested, check them out. Got stuff going back over 10 plus years now. And also would just encourage people to take a look at the Twitter feed. That's getting crazier by the day. I mean, I could write stories on there's a big locust swarm in Siberia. There's pictures of it. You can click on the link and see all these locusts taking over in Siberia. There's Rosh Chodesh. Erdogan is sparring with France and Macron. He's not happy. Turkey, he's acting out. The Brits over there, they're in trouble. They're spending too much money. Or I'm sorry, the Queen and Prince Charles are spending too much money. The Brits are upset about it. And also, I suspect now tomorrow I'm going to have something coming out because we're going to have a big peace declaration and signing in D.C. with the Arab Emirates, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Israel. And it would appear that Oman looks to be next in line on the Persian Peninsula, on the, I'm sorry, not the Persian, on the Arabian Peninsula, excuse me, on the Arabian Peninsula. And then also keep your eye on some African countries. Mali, maybe looking to do something. Morocco, we'll chatter about those two countries. 22 nations in the Arab League. Jared seems to think they're all going to want to sign at some point. So let's get on the peace train. And no, Jared's not the Antichrist. Trump's not the Antichrist. We don't have a 10-nation federation yet. We're still waiting on that. Nobody's usurped 3 of those and taken over, let alone having a 10-nation federation. So we're not there yet. We're watching. We're watching things happen. Dominoes are being set up. So at any rate, you guys have a great evening. Appreciate you following along. Take care. Bye.